I just know you're ready to hear about a little crime. Welcome to Crime Daddies.
Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode, and thanks for being with us. I am Jacob.
And I am Hunter.
We are your crime daddies. Yeah, so thanks for coming back to another episode, another week, another crime, another case. Hunter's going to bring us a case.
All right, surprise, everybody. If you're wondering, yes, we're dropping twice in one day, and it's because we thought we would give everybody a huge thanks for all the love and support. So I'm dropping 2 disappearances out of SEMO the same day.
Bam! I'll give you that two-piece right there, that little 1-2 punch he's going to give you. So this is our quick little bonus episode for you guys.
And this case was actually suggested from a listener, and her name is Hannah Ray, and her TikTok handle is Small Town Probs, and the spelling of that is SMALLTOWNPROBS. So go over to her TikTok and give her a follow.
You are now being followed by both the crime daddies, so everyone else should go follow her as well. Thanks for the suggestion. It's really cool for you guys to actually be a part of this process. I think that's one of the coolest parts so far is all the messages we get saying, "Hey, look into this crime. Hey, look into this crime." Like, it just blows my freaking mind.
And like I've said, it doesn't matter whether I've already planned on doing the case or not. If you suggest it, I'm gonna shout you out if I cover it. So.
Yeah, because that just shows that you guys are listening in, and if you're going to be a part of our lives, we're going to be a part of your lives. So we just want to reciprocate all that back towards you guys.
All right, Jacob, this case is a strange death case. Today I'm going to be discussing the suspicious death of Lynn Marie Messer. On June 4th, 1962, Lynn Marie Messer was born. As a teenager, she married her high school sweetheart, Carrie Messer, in 1979. They went on to have 2 sons, Aaron and Abram Messer, and they both went on to bless them with 7 grandkids. By all accounts...
That's nuts. 7? Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I mean, it's not that nuts. I mean, I have 16 siblings, and my grandpa had 10 siblings himself, so I've seen bigger, obviously, but still, now that I have 1 kid, I couldn't imagine freaking 7 of them.
Yeah, I mean, my grandpa had 11 other siblings, and he was the 12th. Him and his twin were the 11th and 12th, so, yeah, there's nothing wrong with big families.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess kind of back then, it was just what you did. I mean, you need help on the farm? Have a kid. That's free help.
That's true. That's true. Look at the Amish.
Look at them.
They don't believe in condoms or birth control. They have literally 0 pull-out game.
Now I'm just thinking about that freaking TikTok you showed me about the Amish with the Marlboro Red.
I honestly love the Amish, though. Like, their way of life is so simple. Like, you just work for your own.
Yeah.
Build whatever.
You and Jebediah and Ezekiel just go out and you work the ground, and then you take care of your family, and then you just go to sleep and keep doing it every day. I commend you for doing it. It seems a lot more simple. And I feel like you get closer with creation. You get closer with God whenever you live a simplified life. Like, you're not getting distracted by all the crap that we get distracted by. Like, I care about stuff I probably shouldn't care about, and they care about stuff that actually matters.
Yeah, Amish, you got it figured out. I mean, I read every single Little House on the Prairie book, and I feel like the lifestyles are about the same.
Oh, yeah. I remember watching Little House on the Prairie.
All right. By all accounts, the Messer family was your all-American family. They worked hard, was devout Christians, and loyal members to the First Baptist Church from Festus/Crystal City in Missouri. They lived in a rural 250-acre farm in Bloomsdale, Missouri in St. Genevieve County. Lynn is described as a wonderful mother and grandmother. Some of her hobbies included farm life and outdoors. She was active on the family farm, which involved working with cattle and riding all-terrain vehicles with her husband. Lynn was also involved in breeding and training dogs, and I'm pretty sure that she spent time with horses. She was very involved in church. She was a devout member of her church, where she taught classes, including children's missions for Vacation Bible School.
Oh my gosh, VBS. That's nuts. I remember going to that whenever I was a kid.
Yep. We still have VBS at our church.
Yeah, I mean, every church, if you're Southern, maybe it's not even a Southern thing. I just know it to be Southern because I live in the South. But if you ever went to church as a kid in this area, you know what VBS is.
She also enjoyed being a homemaker and being able to homeschool her children and teach them. On the surface level, this family appeared to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're on this podcast, we know a sad story is fixing to take place.
Oh, yeah.
On July 8th, 2014, Lynn Messer disappeared from her family's 250-acre farm in rural Missouri. She was 52 years old at the time. According to her husband, Kerry Messer, he woke up around 4 a.m. to thunder and realized Lynn was gone. Her glasses were still by the bed. Her phone hadn't moved. Her medication was untouched. Even the walking boot she relied on for an injured foot remained beside the bed. Lynn occasionally walked on the property to clear her head, but not in the middle of a storm, and not without her boot. Something definitely wasn't right.
Yeah, I'd say so.
After discovering Lynn missing, Kerry searched the house and barns. He then drove half a mile to his adult son's home around 4:15 a.m. One detail immediately stood out. The four-wheeler was gone. The son said he had brought it back the night before. Instead of calling police immediately, the family speculated that Lynn might be staying in the barn apartment due to septic issues at the main house. They returned home and went back to bed. By morning, Lynn was still gone. Only one son contacted law enforcement. Police quickly classified Lynn as an endangered person, given the fact that she had a broken toe at the time and left without her walking boot.
Yeah.
Leading police to speculate that she found herself in physical danger. Local police, professional search and rescue, K-9 teams, highway patrol, and the FBI were called to locate her. Search dogs picked up a scent trail leading away from the farmhouse on the day Lynn disappeared. But later that day, Kerry asked his son, Abram, to move their herd of cows to a different field, which destroyed the scent trail.
Dang. That's so unfortunate because, like, I know you have to do it. You have to move your cow sometime. Your cattle just have to be put in different fields for whatever purposes. But I'm sure looking back on it, they probably would have done something else at that day if they knew that it was going to disturb any evidence left behind.
The Messer farmhouse was meticulously searched on the first day and later dates by both local and federal authorities. No evidence indicated any harm or wrongdoing by her husband Kerry, or any indication of a break-in or struggle of any kind, leading police to believe that she hadn't been abducted. Neither the police nor Kerry believed that Lynn had decided to run away from home, but she hadn't taken any personal belongings with her. She appeared to enjoy her marriage and family life, and she had recently been discussing exciting future plans such as holidays and Bible classes. After 4 days of intensive searching, the local sheriff said he was convinced that Lynn was not on the farm. The official search was suspended and law enforcement supported the family as they continued searching. One of Lynn's sons and one of her brother-in-laws took over directing volunteer search teams for the next 125 days, expending thousands of man-hours in the search. Kerry Messer was not an unknown figure. He worked as a Baptist lobbyist in Jefferson City and co-founded the Missouri Family Network with his son. The family projected strong Christian values, pro-family, advocacy, and conservative principles. From the outside, they appeared united, but behind closed doors, tensions were growing.
Ooh, so it's like a... Okay. I think I see where this is going, but I'm going to let you keep going, but I think I see the writing on the walls.
Kerry later provided police with what he described as a suicide note. The letter apologized for pain and suggested Lynn was leaving. However, there were inconsistencies. Kerry initially told police Lynn was not depressed and had never taken antidepressants. Her sons contradicted that statement. They knew that she had struggled with depression and medication side effects. The note itself raised additional questions. It appeared to be written with multiple pens. Portions seemed statistically inconsistent. The top lines, which suggested a goodbye, were the only section Kerry said he carried in his wallet for 2 years. Investigators later confirmed that the full note did not appear uniform. A portion of Lynn's note that Kerry Messer has says, quote, "I'm sorry to put you through this. I love you from the bottom of my heart," end quote.
I don't know. Something seems very fishy. Like, I think I know where this is going, but you said 2 years?
Yeah, he carried it in his wallet for 2 years.
And so, I don't know. I don't know how investigators didn't see these red flags going off a lot sooner, because it feels like, I mean, from my perspective, a decade later, it feels like pretty obvious where it's probably going to lead to.
It may surprise you.
Oh, okay. Well,
but
then if
I will
that's the
say
case,
this. There's not a whole bunch of information, but there is a ton of allegations.
All right. So if you're going to throw a twist at me, go ahead and tell me the story, dude.
In 2016, nearly 2 years later, skeletal remains were discovered on the property, roughly a mile from the home. Lynn was found lying on a pillow, covered with a blanket. She was still wearing her nightgown. The area had repeatedly been searched before. The medical examiner could not determine a definite cause of death.
Something's weird.
There is no real clear evidence of homicide, but there was also no real evidence of suicide. Now, Jacob, you know what's really sad? Lynn's granddaughter found her remains.
Her granddaughter did?
Her granddaughter ended up finding her remains.
First off, that's sad that you're going to find your grandma's bones. Not even bones. It could have been, I'm sure there might have been something else. It's only been 2 years, but the fact that you said she was buried under a blanket? Or no, in her nightgown.
She was still in her nightgown and she was laying on a pillow.
It's just, I don't know. Something is weird.
And she was covered with a blanket.
And covered with a blanket. It was reportedly searched, that area was?
Yeah.
How do you search an area and not see a freaking dead body on a pillow underneath a blanket?
Yeah, the farm was searched several times, even by state, local, and FBI.
Yeah, and then they said, yeah, it's definitely not on the property. And then 2 years later, here it is, underneath a fucking blanket, on top of a pillow, in a nightgown. Come on, there is no way.
Now listen, I'm not pointing blame on anybody. I'm just going to go off what I know from cases I've seen. Typically, when women decide they want to, take their own life, they do it in a way that way they can be found so that they can have a burial in the same beautiful body that they was on Earth.
Yeah, I guess
they would not do it and not be able to be found. Secondly, typically when you do take a loved one's life, you have remorse and you have guilt, so you lay them down to rest peacefully.
Sure.
And she was found with a pillow and a blanket. Why would she go out in the middle of the night to kill herself just to lie down on a pillow and blanket?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense that she killed herself, because if they have reportedly already searched that, and then so much so to where someone had already marked it out and said, well, she's definitely not on this property, even though she was found there 2 years later by her granddaughter, who wasn't even looking for her, probably stumbled across her. There's no way. There's no way you have law enforcement looking and they can't find her, but then someone just accidentally stumbles across her 2 years later on the same spot.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Nothing, in my opinion, adds up. Yeah. Because from all accounts, she loved life. She was still very active in the church. She was very active in the youth group at church. She loved her grandkids. She was very a part of her grandkids' life. And apparently there was no problems in the marriage. So nothing is adding up that she would want to take her own life, other than she was on antidepressants, and some antidepressants have side effects of suicide. So could this be a case that happened? I don't know. But
I mean, I'm sure anything's possible, but what I think we are agreeing upon is that it doesn't seem likely.
No, not at all. Especially when she's already at the age that she is. Typically, people of that age don't take their own life. Normally, that's done by people that's younger aged or middle aged. You don't hear of too many grandparents killing themselves, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, at all.
And also, I just want to make it very clear. Everything that I said above is solely my opinion.
Yeah.
None of the facts are true. It's just my opinion. So over time, details change. Early accounts emphasize a violent thunderstorm the night Lynn disappeared. Later interviews describe the night as a light drizzle. Police also uncovered that Carey had been involved with a neighboring woman, someone he had known for years, that he later married.
No shit.
Yep.
There ain't no way. Come on.
So, did this guy have a side piece? And
before you get the side piece, you need to get rid of the main piece.
Listen, it's a tale old as time. Like, you got to get rid of your wife in order to be able to move on to another woman. Now, like I said, I'm not saying that's what he did, but that's just...
It's happened a million times.
It's happened a million times.
The fact that it's happened a million times, I think, is so idiotic, because if you don't appreciate your spouse and you find someone else that you do appreciate, be a man or be a grown woman enough to just break it off with your spouse.
Absolutely. I have personally told my wife this several times. Like, if you ever feel like you're not happy with me no more, let's just go ahead and go separate ways, because life is too short to spend it with somebody that you're not madly in love with. It's not fair for your kids to grow up in a home where their mom and dad don't love each other because they need to see that relationship.
Yeah.
So whether it's with the mother of your kids or whether it's with the father of your kids or whether it's with somebody else you meet, your kids deserve to see people in love in a healthy relationship. And if you're not both madly in love, that relationship is not healthy.
At all. It's not healthy at all. I agree with you. And like I said, I don't get why this has happened so much. Just if you're not happy, move on. Don't feel like you have to kill somebody to get with your next person. Because I would like for someone, if you're listening to this episode, name me one instance where someone wanted to move on from their wife and they're like, you know what, let me just kill my wife, and it worked out.
Not a single time. Well,
maybe King Henry VIII, whenever he had 8 wives, and every time he wanted a new one, he just killed the old one, get with a new lady, sees a new hot piece of ass, kills the old wife, gets with a new one. Maybe that works, but hardly ever does it happen to where you meet a new one, you try to get rid of the old one. Just be a grown adult and say bye. Just get out of the freaking relationship. It's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. It's going to hurt your family. But to result to physical violence or murder, my brain it can't ever wrap around it.
All right, Jacob. So Lynn had reportedly told a family member shortly before her disappearance that if something happens to me, he'll marry her. And that statement now carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, a lot of weight, I'd say. That is so nuts.
It seems like maybe she found out about a relationship and she was trying to tell her family about it. And before the relationship could necessarily come to light, she ended up, quote, killing herself.
Yeah. I don't see why you'd kill yourself because your spouse is going to be with somebody else.
The only way I could see somebody being in that mindset is if they thought that they were about to lose everything. But then at the same point, like, she was madly in love with her sons and her grandkids. So I don't think
that's what I'm saying. She has other things to live for if this one relationship doesn't work out. Not saying it wasn't a big relationship, but if you're a mom and a grandma, if your marriage fails, it's going to suck. It's going to hurt. I'm not downplaying that, but you have so much more to live for. I don't think you're going to try and harm yourself.
So that's kind of where the case ends. The family ultimately is fractured. The son who questioned his father was removed from the family business operations and reportedly excluded from decisions. Allegations of control, authoritarian behavior, and image management began to surface. Publicly, the image of a unified Christian family was dissolved. Privately, accusations grew louder. Carrie still denies any involvement and has one son that always stays suspicious as to why Carrie had him move the cows before the police arrived that day.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I thought, no, something's fishy. Something is so fishy. Like, it smells like the otter slough right now. That's how fishy it is.
And everybody, there's not a ton of information on this case itself. I could have took stuff that I seen online and just kind of bored you with kind of repetitive information, but I thought it would be better just to give you a broad overview of the entire case itself, and me and Jacob just kind of discuss it with one another.
Yeah, and I like these conversations because just so you guys know some context, whenever you're dealing with a lot of these small communities and these murders that happen in them, a lot of things don't tend to get published. A lot of things get swept under the rug. They don't have a lot of media attention, and most of the time when you hear these cases that are on most true crime podcasts, they're very well documented and they have lists and lists and lists of sources, whereas these might only have a few. And so we just do our best to provide you guys with an overview, and then we do some discussion on it too. So we like to come up and theorize and just try and figure out and make sense of what we're hearing.
Here's my opinion. If my wife was to go missing, if it was to come about that she killed herself, I promise you I would not have moved on that fast. And I promise you I would not have already had a woman on the side if I could just publicly say I was so madly in love with my wife.
Yeah, I think everything is just a little suspicious. I think my opinion, and this again is just a theory, that way I can cover my butt. This is not me saying anything as fact. This is just a theory. I theorize that this man wanted to move on. He didn't want to go through a divorce and lose half of his stuff because he has status. He has a farm. And so he wants to keep his things and keep his side piece And so he got rid of the one thing that stood in between those things. And he got rid of her, did it in such a way that he had no heat on his neck, and he was able to go and live the life that he wanted to do.
Ultimately, I think the main reason why he never seen a day in court is because there was just not enough evidence to bring it to court.
Yeah, again.
It was only circumstantial speculation.
Yeah, there's no physical evidence that ties him to anything.
Because her body went missing for 2 years, and by that time, the only thing that they could have determined was blunt force trauma to like the skull or something.
Yeah.
And if they didn't find that, then there's nothing that they can do.
Yeah, something's fishy. Just the simple fact that police were in that area and they had searched it for such a long time, and they personally cleared the farm and said she's definitely not on here at all. And then 2 years later, she's found there.
By her granddaughter.
By her granddaughter means I think that she wasn't on there whenever they looked, and then she was placed there.
Very well could have been. At the same point, where would you have hid that body for that long?
I don't know. This guy has status. He has control. He has some sort of power, right? So I'm sure if he needed to just place her somewhere for a few years, he could have done it. If you know anything about this area, is that everybody knows somebody who knows somebody. And so I think in this theory, he was to just put her body somewhere else. I wouldn't put it past him to know somebody that would have a spot where he could put something and not ask questions. Heck, I've known people myself that have friends like that say, hey, don't tell me your business. You can come and go as you please. And they don't want to know. They just let it happen. And if you have pull like this guy did, like he's in big circles. He's going to Jeff City. He's dealing with politicians. He's dealing with money. He's dealing with the farm. I think he could have some pull in some sort of way.
You ever heard of the Iceman?
The Iceman? I have not.
So the Iceman was a notorious hitman. And what he would do was he would kill people, and then he would place their body in a freezer for like 2 to 4 years, and then he would dump their body somewhere. So then after 2 or 4 years, you're kind of done looking for the person, and then he would dump the body.
And I'm sure that's a tactic. I mean, that could be used. Not saying that this is what happened in this instance, but I'm just saying it could have been. That's so nuts.
And again, everybody, like we keep saying, this is only our opinions. Nothing we say is concrete evidence that that's what happened. That's just our perspective after going over the evidence.
Yeah, just two dummies exercising their First Amendment rights to be idiots sometimes. So a lot of it sometimes can just be us theorizing, just based off the evidence that is available. And I'm sure there's some information that we don't know that police haven't put out. They keep closer to themselves, but just based off what we know, this is kind of how we base our opinion on that.
At the end of the day, ultimately, this entire case is very, very fishy.
Well, Hunter, that was one I'd never heard of. Again, you're pretty good at bringing cases that I don't know, which is it's just surprising because in this area, you think you know everything about everything, and then you end up not knowing nothing about nothing. The more I hear these cases. So thanks for bringing this case to me this week, and thank you guys for suggesting it. And we hope you guys like this quick little bonus episode that we're going to drop.
Actually, you can thank Hannah Ray because I'd never heard of it either until she suggested it to me.
Yeah, Hannah Ray, you are the man. I know you're a girl, but you can still be the man. And so in this instance, you're the man, dude. But other than that, I think that's all we got for you guys. And so thanks for listening. Thanks for coming back for another episode. And as always, please do not click away. We want to let you guys know that we value you so much. And one of the best ways for you guys to show us that you value us is to just go and do the quick things on all of our platforms on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. I'm talking commenting, hitting the share button, hitting the add button, adding it to your playlist, giving us any reviews on Apple and Spotify. Even if you need to just go on the comments and tell us today what your favorite color is, we are going to respond and we're going to say, dang, my favorite color is also blue or red or whatever the case ends up being. Just, we appreciate you guys so much. And so the best way you guys can support us over here at Crime Daddies is to just do those things on all of our social medias. And if you're curious as to what our social medias are, you can find us on Facebook at Crime Daddies. You can find us on Instagram at Crime Daddies Pod. And then you can find my personal Instagram and TikTok at Jacob W.C. Smith. And then Hunter is going to be
Hunter_Semo.
And on these platforms, on our personal ones, we post a lot of different content. It's not necessarily all true crime, but we do have some true crime clips. And so if you're interested in those things at all, we also post some other stuff in our lives. So if you want to see a different part of your crime daddies, a more real life part of us as we go to the gym and just deal with regular situations in life, then feel free to go follow us on our personal stuff too. But other than that, I think that's all we got for you.
Goodbye.